everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today we're sitting down with 3 different individuals and we're gonna talk about goals. Specifically with each person, we're gonna discuss what their goal is. We're gonna make it a little more specific and then create some actionable steps that they can take to actually achieve that goal. We're obviously in a studio today and I don't know if you can hear, but there is some music playing next door. So we're gonna hope that this doesn't get a copyright strike. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm from New York. I'm 34 years old and I own a bar and restaurant in Upper Manhattan called Bird in Hand.
So why don't you tell me what your goal is right now?
So I'm trying to get just physically stronger, just trying to maintain a healthy body and a good physique.
So it's both performance and aesthetic.
Yes.
Great, and there's nothing wrong with that. So physical strength, tell me what does that mean to you?
Being able to lift heavy things without pain. That is actually a large part of my job, believe it or not, is moving heavy things around, part of the glamour of the restaurant industry you don't see. But I just want to be able to both do that short term, just be able to physically lift and maneuver things, but also just long term being able to get up and walk around and move. I'm a runner and move comfortably, healthily without feeling pain and discomfort.
Yeah, I love all of that. So tell me about what does, if you're doing a typical week of movement, and I know you move a lot during the week, but as far as formal exercise, what does that look like during the week?
Sure, so at least 2 days a week, I will lift weights for an hour. I'd like to try to squeeze a third in there, but it doesn't always happen on my schedule of late. Try to run, I would say 2 to 3 days a week. I am behind on that schedule right now. I do walk a lot during the day, and I know that that's not formal exercise, but I do try to make sure that I'm up and moving as much as possible. Other than that, the occasional, if I have myself a free hour, find myself a class to do.
Okay, so it sounds like right now, we've got 2 to 3 days of cardio, 2 to 3 days of weight training, right?
Yes.
Great, I love that balance. I mean, with all of that, where do you feel I guess it's a twofold question, do you feel there's an obstacle in your way to committing to that?
My schedule, I think, is probably the biggest obstacle because especially right now in getting this place open, it's finding the consistency. For instance, when I do weight training and 2 days a week, I do it with a trainer that I have a specific time slot that it's okay, now I'm committed to this. So a lot of it is just really trying to find the time. And then part of it's also when it's not scheduled, trying to find the motivation. So
it sounds like you have this goal of just maintaining your physical health for long term, right? And you have a great system set up in place with things that you really enjoy and love, but sometimes just because of life, you don't necessarily commit to it. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that the best thing, Matt, because you have a great thing going with what you enjoy and what works for you. I think that the best thing you can do is figure out different tactics to make sure that you're actually showing up for yourself when you do have the time, because life happens, but making sure that you actually do it when you do have the time, right? One of the biggest things I do, especially because our schedules are kind of similar in the sense that they're always changing and they're kind of always up in the air, I always have one set day every single week where I sit down and I go, great, my schedule is set. Now I have to schedule in all of my workouts. I have to schedule in the things for myself. And again, I'm a very type A person, so if something's in my calendar, I am much more likely to actually get it done. But maybe, I don't know if that's the tactic that's gonna work for you, but I have found that by taking that ritual, and it's become part of my routine now, of building the rest of my schedule for the week of workouts, that's a great way that I actually do stay motivated and that I stay on top of my workouts. Thinking about just those examples, and again, those might not be the things that work for you, but is there anything that you do find motivating within getting yourself to actually go to a workout?
It's funny you said that though about the calendar, because I'm the exact same way.
Okay.
If I put something on the schedule, I will do it. If I don't, it's 99% not going to happen.
So do you have a routine with scheduling things out?
No.
Okay.
No, I just sort of do them as they happen.
So do you honestly think that because maybe you're it wouldn't be helpful. Do you think that would be helpful?
No, I really do.
Okay.
That is something I should be doing.
So I think that that's the big tactic that we can kind of take away from this, because again, you know how to do what you want, right? You know how to get to your goal. It's just that little roadblock of my schedule changes a lot and sometimes I don't have the motivation. So this, I think, is a good thing you can just put in your toolbox. I think that's gonna help with your consistency.
I think so too. That's a really good idea.
Okay. Awesome. We did it. Yes.
Hi, I'm Sam. I live in New York and I'm originally from Philly and I work in children's publishing.
Okay, so Sam, why don't you tell me about what your goals are right now?
So I really want to add more movement in to like my day, but also my training. Last year I was in a situation where I had a lot more space where I was, and there was a lot more time built into my day where I could like go for a walk. And then this year I'm back in my tiny apartment and just not moving as much and kind of really feeling the effects of that. And then also I play Australian football and that training is starting, so I would like to have more cardio and movement as well, so that every time I go running for that, it doesn't make me want to die.
I feel that. Seems like your goal, just so I understand, is that you want to add in more movement during your days overall, but also to support your playing football and just like basically adding in more movement to support the movement that you're also doing, if that makes sense. Part of the issue with that though is that you have a lot less space than you had before, because we're in New York City.
Yes.
Great. So tell me, I mean, I know what you're doing now for the most part, because you work out in the Fit Club a lot, but tell me, like, what does your weekly schedule look like as far as workouts right now?
So I do all your live classes because I like the structure of doing the live classes. There have been times where I'm like, oh, I'm going to do workout on my own, and I'm just not as consistent as I am with the live classes. Yeah. So I do those like 5 days a week, and then I do on the weekend one of the days I like string together your Fit Club mobility workouts to like, it's my PT day where I'm just kind of recovering everything.
Love that.
So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And then one day that's just like, I'm gonna sit on my couch and do nothing.
Yeah.
Or go and walk around in Astoria.
So right now, there's no running in your schedule, right? And okay, so I think that that's the big thing that we're missing, especially since football is starting back up. Yeah. And part of the thing with cross training is like, you have a lot of great complementary stuff in here, right? Like you're doing your mobility days, you have core work that you're doing, we're working on strength. So all of that stuff, you've got a great schedule with. But we definitely need to add in the thing that's actually gonna help you on the other side of football, which is endurance. And that endurance component is gonna be running. So what I would recommend, Sam, is it's up to you and how your body feels. Again, I know the Fit Club workouts are only 30 to 45 minutes, so it's not a huge chunk of time. But I think that you either need to add in running, we're gonna get more specific with that in a second, or substitute running for one of the other workouts that you're doing, if that makes sense. Yeah. So right now, achievably, how many times a week do you think you could commit to and want to commit to running? And then we can talk about what that means. Is that miles? Is that time? Is that whatever that is? But what is your instinct to go to?
I feel like probably 2 would be achievable, because I tend to like go gung ho. Actually, like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I'm gonna start running, and then I like ran for a few times that week, and then the next week I didn't run at all. So it's like I do want to have it be a sustainable thing. So I feel like once or twice a week is probably what I could manage. There's always like the intention to go out and run, and then I'll be doing something else, or it'll be like a gross day out, and I'm like, oh no, never mind.
Yeah. So I would say nail down a specific number. Right. So do you want it to be 1 time a week or twice a week?
I think I'm gonna start with once a week.
I love that. Yeah. And the great thing about that, and you know exactly what I'm gonna say, is that if you do twice a week, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a bonus, right? But if you only do once a week, you still hit your goal. And what you don't want to happen is to get burnt out, or you don't want to feel like you haven't achieved your goal, right? So we're gonna start with just running 1 time a week. Right. What does that look like to you? Is that miles? Is that time? Is that indoors, outdoors? Like, get really specific.
I think for me, it's time to start. Yep. Yeah, because it's when I was doing it, I do have access to a fitness room, like in my building. So there is a treadmill there, which is one of those things where I'm like, okay, there's no excuse to not run.
There you go. So if the weather's not nice, you have an option. So that's a good plan B. And how much time?
Probably, I think like 20 minutes to a half hour to start.
Right? 20, we'll say 20 minutes. Okay. Again, the more specific we are, and then if we go over it, added bonus, right? So building our goal, we're going to run once a week for 20 minutes. Okay. And then as you continue with that, just like, you know how we talk about in class, like we want to progress it, right? So maybe you stick to that for 2 weeks, and then you go, I'm going to bump it up to 30 minutes, you know, and then you stick with that for another 2 weeks and you go, I'm gonna add in a second day where I do twice a week for 20 minutes. Like really just looking and seeing how your body feels, how you're performing in football too, like how is your endurance, and really just like finding a way that you wanna measure that progress. Okay. I mean, it sounds like the end goal is to perform better in your daily movement. And right now, a big part of that is Australian football.
Yes. I can measure it like that when we're like doing these, you know, run the full length, like try to kick the full length of the field, and my kick gets terrible because I'm exhausted. So that's definitely a point of like, because, you know, getting tired affects, like has a ripple effect on all the other skills. So I'm like, oh, my kick is completely off now because I just have no more gas left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I think, like, obviously I can only help you with those things so much because I don't really understand Australian.
Oh yeah, I can send you the link.
I think that that's a great place to start. The only other facet of this is where are you going to put that 20 minutes in?
Right.
And that might change every week.
I think kind of like setting it in my calendar each week, because I have like other things that I'll like space out time for.
Yeah.
For like separate goals that I have.
I think that's great. And that gives you flexibility too. So it's not like every Monday at 7 a.m. I'm running 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then like, what happens if you have something else?
Right.
What happens if you don't want to? You know? So I think that's great.
Okay.
Great. How do we feel about that?
Good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now I have to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Michaelgard. I'm from North Bergen, New Jersey. I'm a senior CX associate for a body care company, and on the side, I'm a semi-professional dancer.
I'm like so obsessed that we both wore cat shirts today.
Anytime that I can, I wear something cat related.
So, Mike, why don't you just tell me what your main goals are right now?
Okay, so my number one broad goal is I just want to have more upper body strength. And specifically, I really, really want to be able to do a push-up because I've never been able to do it. And when you had to take those like fitness tests when you were in elementary school, I was always petrified of having to do a push-up or a pull-up. And I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to feel like I can lift myself up if I need to, and then graduate onto more like acrobatic endeavors, like a handstand or something cool.
Yeah. I love that. I think that this is a really great goal because obviously upper body strength, that's a very broad thing, right? Like what does that mean? And you narrowed it down immediately. Well, to you, that means being able to do a push-up.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing because it's very specific and we can measure that. So let me ask you right now, can you do a push-up?
No, I don't think so. I can do a cute on my knee moment.
Yeah.
But as soon as my knees come up, I am like, and I can get down, I can get back up, which is like the whole point of pushing up. So
yeah,
no.
I think that the number one thing that will be helpful is making sure that you are literally just practicing getting to your push-ups in a strategic way on a strategic schedule. So right now, do you have any type of workout plan that you're following?
I wouldn't call it a plan nor a schedule, but I do go to the gym.
Great.
And I do record what I do. I only actually started doing this within the past month. I've gone to the gym forever, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I would just go and do whatever I felt like. So I'd be like, I'm gonna do a bicep curl and not understand what's going on. So I wanted to do this mostly because I am very type A and I do work better with accountability and knowing what I'm specifically supposed to do, especially in the gym where I really don't know what I'm doing. That's why a push-up for me is sort of like the holy grail, because I feel like it's an easy and distinct way to know if I'm doing it right, because I can tell if my like form is bad, and I can tell if I'm like pushing myself up. Yeah.
You can tell if you're off the floor.
Exactly. Yeah. I can tell if I've not like fallen on my face.
So I would say that the number one thing that you just need to focus on, because you're going to the gym, right? How many days a week do you typically go?
At least 3, but most of the time 4. Yeah.
That's great.
Because I also, also, you know, I have rehearsals in the morning.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that gives me enough energy to be like, I'm already sweating. I'm going to the gym.
Something I love that you do is that you're habit stacking your sweaty time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're already dancing, you're already in clothes that are appropriate to work out in.
Yes.
You're already sweating, so you're like, you know what? I might as well just continue this, and I'm gonna take the other habit of going to the gym and put it with my dancing days. So it sounds like right now, all we need to do is just stay consistent with practicing push-ups.
Yeah.
I think that literally your goal needs to be that every time you're going to the gym, you are practicing your push-ups.
Cool.
Every single, I don't care if it's push day, pull day, lower body, upper body, just somewhere in your workout, wherever it makes the most sense, you're practicing your push-ups.
Got it.
Because the only way you're gonna get better is if you keep doing them. Let's get specific on a number there. Like, how many push-ups are we gonna do? Are we gonna do 5? Are we gonna do 10? Are we gonna do 3 sets of 10? Like, yeah, exactly. So get specific so that as you get better, you know what you can actually measure it, right? Because if you're just kind of doing them randomly, then you're never going to be able to tell if you're really getting better. But if you start and you're doing, we're just going to say you're doing 10 push-ups, and at the beginning, you have to take a break after every 2, but then in a month, you don't have to take a break. You've been able to measure your progress. You know? So with all of that being said, all of those examples, how many push-ups, what does that look like to you when you practice? And be realistic with yourself.
Okay.
I'm gonna do 3 sets of 50.
I know, I'm like, right now I'll do 200. Who cares?
You can break them up. You can do, you know, 2 and take a break. It's just more about how many do we want to do? Check off the list. You know what I mean?
I could probably do 3 sets of 10 and feel good about that. Yeah.
I love that. So every time you go to the gym, which is 3 to 4 times a week, at the beginning of your workout, you're going to do 3 sets of 10 push-ups.
I got it.
It's a great goal. I love that. It's achievable. I like that, again, we have a way to measure our progress as we're going. And I also like that you're putting it at the beginning because you're not going to be fatigued by the end.
Yeah.
If you've done a ton of other exercises, your triceps, your shoulders, they're small muscles. They're not going to, you know, they're not going to support you as well as at the beginning. All right, I love that.
Yay!
Hopefully you found it interesting and helpful to see some step-by-step examples of setting goals and taking actionable steps toward achieving them. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comment box below. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in the next one.